Hello everyone, it's Lene. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, 2020. I know it's been a long while since my last video. A lot has changed in my life, not to mention in the world since. And some of you asked about me, and I'd like to say thank you. I appreciate you being concerned for me. I've been doing okay, but life's been rough at times, but I'm still doing my best to get through it. So let's go back a few months to January. I moved into a new place. I stayed with a couple in their 20s. I ended up staying there for about 3 months. Things were okay, but it was a small place. They were around a lot. I felt like there was a lack of respect towards me there, so after my 3-month lease there was up, I decided to leave. It was too close for comfort. So last February, I started going to a new facility to have my laser done. My reasons for not continuing where I had initially been going was that I had been, doing sessions there for, about a year and a half, and the results that I saw were disappointing to me. I just hate that I didn't do enough research into that when I started. I thought that I knew enough to pursue it. But I found out that for my skin type, if you have a darker complexion, you'll need to use a laser that is specifically designed for that. The one I'm using now, or the last time I went in for treatments, was for that one session. It's called the ND-YAG laser, and I saw results right away. And also, the service there was better. The technician, she mentioned that I should always remove the skin numbing cream that I apply prior to going in. Before, at the old place, I wasn't doing that, and she never suggested that I do that. Maybe she thought I was, I don't know. But what ended up happening was my next scheduled appointment was for March 31st, back on March 31st. And about a couple days before my appointment, my technician called me and told me that they were temporarily closing due to COVID-19. Pretty much the entire country went on lockdown. I was disappointed because right away I saw results, and I could go 5 days without shaving easily. I notice now, though, that my hair is growing back more and faster. About 2 weeks ago, my technician called me and told me that they were going to reopen on May 19th, which was, I think, last week or the week before. However, because I'm having laser done on my face, I wouldn't be able to come back in for my next session. It's because of that I wouldn't be able to wear a mask while, I was visiting there. I was really disappointed. I had paid all of this money back in February, expecting, to go in there and get it done. Like I said, this experience with laser was a lot better. The pain was not nearly as bad as it was at the other place. But she told me that she would definitely keep me updated on when I could come back in for my next treatment. But apparently the state has it so that if you cannot wear a mask while you're visiting a business or, any public place, but she said that she thinks that they will actually allow us to come back for laser hair removal on our face once they develop a vaccine for COVID-19. Honestly, I do not want to take a vaccine, but if I had to in order to do laser again, I would consider it. So, in early March, I became interested in real estate. I had always had an interest in real estate, but my parents actually purchased a rental property in Mississippi, which is where they're originally from. And they've been there now for the last 3 months rehabbing it. Since that time, my mother told me about wholesaling real estate, and I've been watching a lot of YouTubers, reading up on articles, books. One guy's name is Max Maxwell. Another YouTuber he calls himself the Flip Man. And there's another guy named Rico. His channel is called Wholesaling Minery, like elementary, I guess. I don't know. But it's good. I've learned a lot just in the last 3 months. I have tons and tons of notes. It's a little overwhelming at times, but I think if I give it time and really devote myself to learning this business, I think I could be successful at it. I really do. So at the end of March, I was furloughed from my job. It's been one of the best things that's happened to me this year. You know, it's scary not having a steady paycheck. Right now, I'm doing unemployment, plus, I have my side business. I can get signings in on occasion. It's not that much, though. But I feel better physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm better off financially. I don't have a lot of money, but I've been able to set aside some with my tax refund and the stimulus package that they gave to everyone. Well, not everyone, but most of us. And I've even had a little to invest, which is nice. Also, my gym closed about 2 months ago. And while I was at the other place with a young couple, she converted the garage into a gym. She didn't tell me she was going to do that because before we were both parking our vehicles in the garage, and she mentioned to me one day, well, I'm going to clean out the garage. I just want to ask if you could park your car out front instead, outside. So I told her, okay, sure, thinking that I would be able to park back in the garage after she finished cleaning, but she didn't even mention to me. She ended up converting the garage into a gym, which wouldn't allow for cars in the garage. I kind of, that rubbed me the wrong way, definitely. I think it was disrespectful for her to do that. She should have at least told me. I know it's not my house, but out of respect for me, she could have at least mentioned it. I did use the gym, though, the garage, to work out, and I'm sorry, you'll have to excuse me. I'm getting a little nervous. It's been a while since I, made a video, so I'm a little rusty. I've been 3 weeks vegetarian. I'm trying to lose some more muscle mass, especially in my upper body. I feel like, I have too much in that area. It's been pretty good so far. I still eat fish on occasion. Mainly, it's pasta, vegetables. I make smoothies. I add veggies to it, so it hasn't been that bad, actually. The other day, I was watching a commercial. I think it was on Hulu. And Katy Perry, the singer, she was in the commercial. I'm not a huge Katy Perry fan, if you're wondering. Some of her songs are okay, but I don't really take her music that seriously. No offense, Katy, if you're watching. She's probably not, so yeah, whatever. But she mentioned that a restaurant out, I guess probably in California, that serves Impossible Burgers. And she said that they had the best Impossible Burger. So I figured, hey, maybe I can find, maybe other restaurants serve Impossible Burgers. Sure enough, they do. So I had an Impossible Burger last weekend at Red Robin, and it was really good. I actually enjoyed it. And I know there are better ones out there. So if you know of a place where I can actually find one that's really good, feel free to share it with me. So I did move again in mid-April. This is where I'm currently living. I'm staying with a lady, and her mother is here most of the time. We've had some problems since I've been here. I've been here now for a month and a half. And lately, I've been feeling like things just aren't working out. It seems like she's disrespectful towards me. Prior to moving in, we talked about this. I'm an adult and I'm going to respect her house, but truth be told, An adult will never be respected in someone else's house. That's just how it is. I want my own house more than anything, even more than I want love in my life. It's just that right now, with all that's going on, and I don't have a job, a steady job, so, I can't buy a house right now. Hopefully, with all that's been going on, that prices will drop significantly. Maybe then I can afford to put an offer on something. This lady, she accused me of spying on her. What happened? I was going out jogging that evening and I saw her walking back to the house. So I assumed that she had walked over to the mailbox to check the mail. And I asked her if I had any mail today. And she told me, no, you don't. At that time, I didn't have a key. She said that she was looking for the extra key. She had misplaced it. So I told her, okay, that's fine. Just whenever you find it. So I came back in from my run that evening. Right out of the blue, she accused me of spying on her, saying that, I did that because I didn't trust her. I told her, no, I was actually going out for a jog. I wasn't spying on you. And there's nothing wrong with me asking you about something that's rightfully mine. She did apologize for it. Then there was another incident where she works nights and her hours have been cut from her job, so she only works maybe 3 days out of the week, but she works graveyard shifts. I had maybe 3 articles of clothing to wash that Friday, and I wasn't going to do it because I thought that she was asleep, but I walked past her room and I heard her cell phone. It sounded like she was watching something on her cell phone. It was pretty loud too. So I assumed, hey, what's 20 minutes? I can easily wash these 3 things in 20 minutes. So I did that. About an hour or so later, I came back in from riding my bike. I saw her. She was awake. I said, oh, I thought you'd be asleep right now, I just said. And she said, well, no, I can't sleep because you're doing laundry. I said, well, you were awake. I heard your phone in your bedroom, so I thought it would be okay to take 20 minutes just to do a quick wash 3 things. She was upset. She said that she wasn't, but I could tell that she was. And I told her, for the record, I'm not an inconsiderate person. But that was the only reason why. Other than that, if I had known that she was asleep, which she wasn't, at the time I started, I would have waited until she got up for work to start doing laundry. Then there was another time with my cooking. I don't cook every day, but occasionally, I will cook. But I was popping popcorn, and the skillet that I was using to pop the popcorn in was burning the popcorn. This happened, I think, once or twice. And the smell was pretty bad. I apologized for it. And since then, I've actually bought a popcorn pot where I can pop popcorn because I heard that microwave popcorn isn't as healthy because it has a lot of, preservatives and additives in it. You're better off popping popcorn on the stove or with a popcorn popper versus popping microwave popcorn. So I stopped eating microwave popcorn about a year ago. Fresh popcorn tastes better to me. And I like to have popcorn on occasion instead of having snacks like potato chips. And recently, last weekend, I was away for a couple days. I just had to get out of there for a while. So I drove down to a town about an hour away from where I live. And I was only planning on staying 1 night, but I ended up staying 2 nights. It was nice though. It was just what I needed. But I had gone out for donuts. I know, eating donuts, right? Not healthy. I know, not healthy, but occasionally, a girl can treat herself, right? She texted me at about 7 a.m. and said that she was upset. She was annoyed. Reason being was because I left my YouTube account on her TV. And she doesn't have a YouTube account, so if you don't have a YouTube account, what are you when you use YouTube? You're a guest, right? Right. I usually remove my account, but A couple nights before, I was watching a show that I had purchased. It was season of a series. It's a show called Good Witch that I like. It's normally on the Hallmark Channel. I really like that show. It's if life were only that perfect. The only thing I don't really like about that show is, there aren't a lot of well, there isn't enough diversity on that show. There aren't a lot of people who look like me on that show. And I'm sure that's no accident. But it's the producers who are making decisions like that. But anyway, I still like the show. But in order to watch that show without paying for it again, I would need to sign into my account. So I did that. But instead of removing my account, it was kind of late that night when I went to bed. It was maybe around 11:30, and I was pretty tired, so I wasn't really paying attention. I know for a fact that I did sign out of my account. That morning, she texted me saying that my account is signed in. Her mother's there. She wants to watch foreign TV. They're Romanian, so they watch, her mother especially, they watch a lot of Romanian TV. And I told her, well, I'm sorry, you should be able to sign out of your account. So I tried calling her because we were texting a lot, and I figured, this would be better resolved over a phone conversation than us texting back and forth like we were doing. So I tried calling her twice. She didn't answer her phone because I wanted to help her out. I wanted to help her sign out of my account if it was still signed in. She didn't answer her phone. So I told her, well, she was upset because she said, why is your account on my TV and I'm a guest on my own TV? Are you trying to take over my TV? And I told her, no, I'm not. And the reason why you're a guest is because you don't have an account. And I told her, if you like, I can actually help you set up an account. And then she says, do you think I'm that stupid where I don't know how to set up a YouTube account? And I was thinking, well, you don't know how to sign out of my account, so what was I to think? So I left it alone after that. I just said, that wasn't necessary. And yesterday, her mother was in the living room watching TV. She asked me about the TV, so I was able to remove my account. I did it in about 20 seconds. Then I went out to the grocery store. I came back, and my account had already been removed from the TV. And the mother just started, kind of whining about the TV, saying that, yeah, all this stuff. I mean, there's a language barrier there. Her mother speaks very little English. We really can't communicate that well together. But I was trying to tell her that, these things that you see on YouTube are random. It's random stuff. It's not really based on anyone's account. But if you were to set up your own account, you can customize it to your liking with all the programming that you like to see. But I told her, this isn't my TV. This is your daughter's TV, so it's not my place to do that. But I think that would be very helpful for you. She didn't understand me. I think both of them think that YouTube accounts aren't free, that you have to pay for them. But the truth is, you don't. Even if you have an account with YouTube, content on YouTube, most of it anyway, is free. The show that I purchased, that was something that I had to purchase, but everything else is free. Maybe that's what they're afraid of, but I'm not mentioning anything else about it, and I doubt if I'll even watch TV down here anymore. It's not worth it. She even said, yeah, you have a TV in your room. I told her, yeah, I do, but about 3 weeks ago, the power went out, and since then, I haven't been able to log into the internet with my Roku box. I've had it for a few years, so maybe it's time I buy a new one. I don't know. But whenever I want to watch something on Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, etc., I just use my iPad now. Besides, I don't watch much TV anyway. I'm planning on moving again in July if I can find something that's suitable for me. I'm sick of moving, but I think it's best that I find a place that's more compatible. I got to get her out of my life. I don't feel respected here. So I mentioned that my parents purchased a house in Mississippi, and they've been there now for the last 3 months, renovating it. Okay, I think we have better lighting now, I hope. I was a little hurt. Back in March, when I was furloughed from my job, my parents didn't offer me a place to stay at their home in Florida, the house that I grew up in. That house has been sitting there empty for the last 3 months. I could have looked after the house. But just know that if it were me, if someone, especially who was related to me, if things got tough and they needed somewhere to go, somewhere to stay, a place to live for a little while, I would definitely offer what I have, especially if I have the room. But I would have felt better if they had offered instead of me asking. I never asked, and hopefully my situation won't come to that. My nephew's high school graduation was supposed to be this week, but because of, COVID-19, the date has been pushed back to the end of July. They live in Florida, my sister and her husband, along with my nephew. They live about 2.5 hours, 3 hours from where my parents live. But my younger sister told my mother that I can stay with her when I come into town. But my younger sister, she never mentioned this to me. A little before that, she was suggesting a couple of hotels in the area that I could make a reservation at. I checked on the rates at the time, but they were way out of my price range. I already purchased my airline ticket back in March. I was still working at the time. I changed the dates on it, I think last week. Because of that, I received a credit, a pretty significant amount. So I was able to purchase another ticket for August because I have some things that I have stored in Florida. They've been there for a while now, and if at all possible, I would like to bring them back here to Colorado. Let's hope that things will work out here for me. I've been back now from Nevada for about a year now, and I have no regrets for coming back, for returning to Colorado. I love Colorado. But going back to my sister, I never mentioned anything about me staying there a night or two while I was in town for my nephew's graduation. It would be better if she offered that to me instead of me asking. Once again, if the tables were turned, I would definitely offer that. I've come to accept that I'm on my own in this life. I've always had to fend for myself. It would be so much better, so much easier if I had someone or, a group of friends that I can count on. What are friends and family for? Isn't that what they're for? I think so. But the truth always comes to light, especially when the chips are down. You know who are the real ones who care. I'm not saying that my family doesn't care about me, but I don't know what I'm saying. I called my mother on Mother's Day, and I spoke with both my mother and my father. I talked to my mother for a while. I briefly spoke with my dad. He ended up giving the phone back to my mother, and shortly after, I found out that he had left the room. And he went back to what he was doing. I'm a little worried. In a couple months, when I do see my family for the first time in a year and a half, are things going to be okay? Will they be okay with who I am? I've asked my dad about this, and I think I've asked everyone else about this too, and everyone says that they will be okay, and that I should not even worry about it. But in the back of my mind, I worry. It concerns me. It's been over a year since I've come out to them, and I understand that these things do take time, but time eventually runs out. My mother, she asked me earlier this year, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, if she could start calling me by my initials, LM. I told her that I would be okay with it, and I am okay with it. I'm not sure how long I'll be okay with it, but it really seems like my mother is trying to make an effort. This means a lot to me, it really does. One of my aunts, on the other hand, still calls me nephew. We would text each other from time to time. I would let her know how I was doing, what was going on in my life. She would let me know what's going on with her. But recently I asked her not to call me nephew, and she replied that I will forever be her nephew in all caps. I told my sisters about this, and both of them said that they would mention it to my mother and ask her if she could talk to my aunt about this. My mother is closer with her than we are. But I asked my mother if my sisters had mentioned any of this to her, and my mom's told me that they did, but it's not something that she can really do. She can't change how someone else feels or control their actions. And I'm okay with that. My aunt, she has texted me a few times since then, but I can't bring myself to reply back to her. I don't want to shut anyone out, I really don't, but at the same time, I have to live my life as my true self. And if people can't respect that, even those who are related to me can't respect that, I have to accept how they feel and move on and live my life true to who I am. I know it sounds selfish, but at the same time, it's a selfless act. And it's something that we should all strive for. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way that we can be happy. Sorry about that. I had to come outside. My roommate just walked in. But I was saying, I hope my mic isn't picking up any of this. There are a lot of loud cars on the road nowadays. It drives me crazy. I think there should be a law against how loud your car or motorcycle is. That includes music too. But like I was saying, sorry, it's getting a little dark too. Maybe I can fix it in editing. I do begin to resent people who don't respect me. Case in point where I'm at now. The things that I want out of life are pretty basic. Nothing really extravagant. To own my own home, and to never have to live with roommates again, unless I choose to do so, or live in someone else's house. I said it before and I'll say it again. An adult will never be respected living in someone else's house, even if they are paying to live there. So my birthday that is coming up next year, 2021, is one of those milestone birthdays. I would like to do something that I've never done before. I would really like to take a trip to Africa. I need to update my passport. I'm working on that now. That was one of my goals for this year. I may have mentioned this before in an earlier video, but one of my biggest fears is making it to the end of my life, always having been on my own or alone on my own. This really scares me. I want my time spent here to be spent with someone who wants to be with me just as much as I want to be with them. It amazes me that these few basic things, stable housing, a career that fulfills me, and love, are things that I know nothing of. I've always been somewhat of a romantic. I'm not embarrassed to admit that now, especially since I've transitioned. I don't think I'm asking God for much. Once again, my apology for not doing a video in such a long time. Life has been pretty crazy since early 2019. This year has been a little better, but not having access to laser right now gives me a lot of dysphoria. Sometimes I feel more confident wearing a mask, covering up what I don't want anyone to see, not even myself. But this is where my life is right now. I must go through it right now in order to get to that place that God has for me. I know I deserve better than this. It's only a matter of time before I get it. But I'd like to end this video on a positive note. If you're struggling out there, whoever is, reach out to someone. And if you don't have anyone to reach out to, you can always try reaching out to me. For some reason, my notifications on YouTube, I don't get them anymore like I used to since they updated their site. If anyone knows how to fix that, please let me know. But just know that you are special and God has given you this life to live authentically, to be true to who you are, and to help others live their best life too. I know everybody says that now, but I'm saying it too. To all a good evening, and God bless.